This is Daniel Kaminsky, and I will be speaking to competitiveness and the infrastructure within China. China is one of the most competitive, if not the most competitive nation on the planet. Aside from the fact that China is the most populous nation on earth, it also enjoys a culture of collectivism, suggesting that the we is greater than the me. While that might seem counterintuitive to the competitiveness in the context of the American free economy, there is certainly strength in numbers, especially when dealing with a nation of nearly 1.5 billion people. However, while Americans are typically focused on the me and are competitive amongst their peers, the Chinese have a propensity to band together and compete against the rest of the world. Recent examples include the space program, the steel industry, and the cyber world. Intellectual property in general, while held in strict regard in Western cultures, is not much of an item in China. It has been said there are no secrets in China, and it's almost a rite of passage to copy another's idea and make it a similar product. The belief in China is that although a strong communist central government body is in place, the local governments have a great deal of control over their constituents, and they tend to be quite corrupt. In fact, in 2018, China scored a mere 39 out of 100 on the corruption index chart, ranking it number 87 worldwide in terms of corruption. In terms of infrastructure and innovation, China is among the world's elite. China enjoys one of the highest literacy rates on the planet, its infrastructure is second to none, and the rate of change is out of this world. Due to its state-run system and its plethora of resources, China can have a project planned, approved, and designed and built before it's even been granted a permit in the United States. If they want something built, they get it done. And the rise of the middle class has paved the way for investment in Chinese air travel. China now boasts three of the world's busiest airports, and its total traveler throughput is forecast to overtake the United States by 2024.
All right. Hello, my name is Michael Judy, and I'll be briefing the healthcare situation in China. So currently, according to Chinese doctrine, it is the responsibility of the central government to provide health care with a guiding principle that everyone is entitled to receive basic health care. That being said, the central government has pushed that responsibility down to the local governments to make that happen. China spends about 5.6%, or about $992 billion of its gross domestic product on health care, with 30% financed by the central and local governments, and about 38% financed by public, private, and social health donations. Next slide. As I mentioned in the previous slide, healthcare is funded through the government as well as public, private, and social healthcare cooperative avenues. There are three public finance types, or system, if you will. They are the employer-employee-based type, which comes from employee payroll taxes of urban employed residents. This comes from minimal government funding. Then there's the resident type, which is government funded mainly for the urban unemployed residents. And finally, the rural cooperative, which is also government funded and mainly for rural residents. I should also mention or emphasize that the urban resident insurance and the rural cooperative medical scheme are financed mainly by the government with minimal individual premium contributions, whereas in contrast, the employee-based is minimal government funded. Moving on to private insurance. The private insurance role is complementary in nature and is purchased to cover deductibles, co-payments, and other cost sharing as well as coverage gaps, and is also called commercial health insurance. It is typically paid for by employers and higher income individuals. This often enables people to receive a better quality of care from the healthcare system. And the cost of health care is roughly about $420 per person as of 2014. Insurance is available to everyone. Next slide. So there are two elements to the providers of healthcare. They are the primary care and the hospitals. Without those two elements, there's just not a complete healthcare system. The primary care support is a mix of public doctors, private doctors, clinics, community hospitals for general care. Primary care, frontline care is provided through village doctors, healthcare workers, and sometimes general practitioners. And something to note is village doctors are only allowed to practice in village clinics because they are not licensed general practitioners. That being said, the physician density in the country is 1.79 doctors per 1,000 people, and according to the World Health Organization, a minimum of 2.3 healthcare workers is needed to have a good healthcare system. Let's talk about hospitals. So the hospitals also have a mix of public and private institutions, and they are located in both the urban and rural areas of the country. And it's been shown to have a bed density of 4.2 beds per 1,000 people. As you can see by the graphic in the lower right-hand corner, that there is a clear, unequitable distribution of hospitals across the country. That being said, my assessment is that there is insufficient health care to support the needs of the population. All right, this concludes the healthcare portion of the presentation. Thank you.
In conclusion, Team 3 has gathered this information for your review. A couple things to remember. China boasts the world's largest population with vast resources. Its culture believes we is greater than the me. It is led with a communist central government. It needs improvement in the local level due to corruption. With the vast population, healthcare is at its limits, even though it is healthcare for all. China does have high literacy rate, infrastructure second to none, and it strives to be the global leader. Thank you for your time.